With the movement of transcendental philosophy, often referred to as American Romanticism, we find some innovative trends in American conceptions of nature. At this time, many people began to see that America's wild lands were disappearing, and also that living close to nature offered an alternative and an attractive way of living. In response to these types of considerations, the Transcendentalist philosophers, such as Ralph Waldo Emerson and Henry David Thoreau, began to see the wilds as a sacred inheritance belonging to all Americans. One source of the unique view of nature offered by the Transcendentalists can be found in European Enlightenment thought. Many of the European Enlightenment thinkers had consciously rebelled against the tradition according to which humans were born with evil sin nature, and nature itself was corrupted by sin. The Enlightenment thinkers reasoned differently. They often suggested that if God was good and perfect and He created the world, then the world must be good. This was even more true for wild nature, because wild nature was still in the state in which it was created by God. Nature was not only good, but also capable of teaching us about the mind and character of that God who created it. Something similar could be said about human nature. Human nature was created by God. If that is true, then man, in his original state, should already be both close to God and living the way God had intended. In this view, it was often culture and human invention that were seen as introducing the ills into human life. This painting by Edward Hicks displays an idyllic version of humans in nature, one consistent with a more optimistic view of humans and nature. Notice the peaceful interactions of the animals. Notice the innocence of the child and his close relation to the animals. This image is self-consciously hearkening back to the Garden of Eden. But in this image, we see America as a land like the Garden of Eden, before humans sinned and before nature was cursed. This next image is a close-up from the same painting by Edward Hicks. Notice the difference in the attitude about the nature of the natives. Here they are seen as interacting with European colonists with kindness and civility. These natives seem to have culture and dignity even before the arrival of the Europeans. Another source of the new thinking about nature presented by the Transcendentalists came from the Native American traditions themselves. We have discussed the ways in which the Lakota Sioux saw the close relation between nature and the divine, and we talked a bit about the reasons they saw balance, peace, and harmony as within nature. The Transcendental philosophers Emerson and Thoreau were early students of Native American culture, religion, and mythology. But Emerson and Thoreau pulled from broad international traditions as well. They were fascinated by the Hindu belief that God pervades all reality. In the Hindu tradition, God is not seen as separate from creation, but creation itself is seen as a manifestation of God. Nature itself was a part of the divine nature of God. God is literally within nature. They were also impressed by the Taoist philosophy originating in East Asia. The Taoists believed that there was a sacred principle behind nature. They called this principle the Tao, or the Way. For the Taoist, the Tao, the Way, guides all things in nature, as they are born, as they grow, as they develop, and when they return to the earth. The Tao also cares for any human being who is willing to live close to nature and to learn from nature's ways. Your next assignment will be to work with some of these principles we have just discussed, and to contemplate the meaning of some of Ralph Waldo Emerson's more mysterious writings from his essay, Nature. His writings are profound and meaningful, but also complicated and highly metaphorical. His writings have inspired American ideas about nature for many generations, and they are an important part of the American conception of nature. You will find the instructions for this assignment within this module.